Recently, I had the absolute pleasure of being able to work with one of my all-time favorite brands, creating a video for them outlining all the details and the tech specs for what is their most iconic line. And I'm delighted that they loved the video and they loved it so much that they're allowing me to share it with you. So that's what we're going to do today. So here is my breakdown of the Lotto Stadio line that I presented directly to Lotto.
4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up everyone, I am James from Boot Wizard Boot Reviews, and today I'm going to take you through all 4 tiers of the Lotto Stadio so that you know what to expect and how they're different. Before we get them on feet, we need to get them unboxed, and I've got every single pair that we're going to go through today in the FG stud pattern. But something that's special about the Stadio is that you're going to be able to get every conceivable stud pattern out there, all the way from indoor to SG. Let's get them unboxed, and the only difference in the boxing is the fact that our OG, our Lotto Stadio II OG, our made in Italy boot, is going to come in this particular slightly more special box with the Stadio logoing on the top, and then you've got a stadium type graphic running on the inside of the box and a really nice pitch graphic down the bottom. It's a small touch, it doesn't make a difference to the boots, but something that I really like. And one of the reasons I like it is because it reminds me of these. Now these are my limited edition Luca Tonis, and they came with an actual piece of turf in the bottom. I just think it's kind of a cool little thing that can be very Lotto specific. Now we've got them out of the box, let's unleash them. We're going to start with the uppers and the Stadio OG. So what we've got here is a full kangaroo or K-leather upper in the forefoot and the midfoot with a microfiber heel. So the microfiber heel is going to be more durable, and it's also going to give you some great stability in that heel area, while you get this incredibly soft, supple kangaroo leather, which is just top quality all the way through the important contact areas of the boot. The 200 is still going to give you a K-leather forefoot, which at this price is not something you're going to get very regularly, and that's going to transition back into a goat leather midfoot and a PU leather heel. Again, just more durability in that area with some great softness through the main contact areas. Now the leather isn't as supple as you're going to get on the OG with the 200, but it's still of very good quality, and with a bit of playtime and a bit of breaking time, it's going to be beautiful. With the 300, we are going for a calf leather forefoot, and that's going to transition into a microfiber midfoot and heel. And finally the 705, where we get rid of the leather entirely and we're going to concentrate on having a fully synthetic upper. The Stadio OG is clearly the most premium when it comes to the upper. It's just immediately soft, comfortable and accommodating, but every single boot with its heritage styling has its own place. So every single one features the 2-piece uppers. This is a traditional construction of a boot with the tongue and then the rest of the boot. There's no 1-piece uppers because they are a heritage style boot, and that also means that size-wise in the width, these are going to accommodate pretty much everybody. There's nobody with a foot that's particularly wide that's not going to be able to wear the Stadio, which is really important. We are going to go back to the OG for a second because it does have some very special features that none of the other boots do have, such as being made in Italy. It's even got the Italian flag taping on the back there. There's the big classic fold over tongue, and this really is heritage look, and I can't express how much I love this, but it even has the oversized laces. So these are deliberately oversized, designed to be wrapped around the boot in a traditional 1990s style, and that makes me so happy. These really do have that handcrafted, made in Italy feeling, and they definitely have the essence of their home, of the birthplace of Lotto. There's a little bit of Montebelluna magic that you can just feel when you've got them on feet. Taking a look at some of the other options, we're going to just take a deeper look at the 200 here, because you've still got that kangaroo leather in the forefoot. Now, this is going to soften up really nicely as you wear the boots in, and like I say, it's very unexpected to get a K leather upper in a boot at this price point. The overall touch and feel on the 200 is slightly more padded with a slightly more dampened touch on the ball when you compare it to the OG. That's not a good or a bad thing. It's all about preference. It's important that people know the more dampened touch is going to come from the 200. You're still getting retro vibes with the fold over tongue, but this is a more modern style of fold over tongue that velcros down onto the boot, and you've got the standard length laces again. So you're going for a slightly more modern feel with the 200, and you haven't quite got some of those classic elements that you're going to get with the OG. But somebody might really want that. They might not want the big unsecured tongue and the long laces like me. They might want something that's a little bit more modern and a little bit more sleek. The first time we see a really distinct change is moving to the 300. And while we do still have the leather, it's going to take a lot longer to break in. So it's just something to be aware of. Not necessarily a bad thing, but they're going to need a few more sessions to maybe mold to the shape of your foot when you compare them to something like the OG. But again, for the price point, that's something to be expected. Padding and touch-wise, it is actually similar to the 200 once you get them broken in, although the way the calf leather is finished is slightly more slick than what you're going to find on either of the previous two models. You're leaning towards a more modern aesthetic again with the 300 by getting rid of that fold over tongue and going for something that does look that little bit more modern. Standard tongue construction still though. And finally, the fully synthetic 705. So this looks like leather and even has some characteristics of leather, but is made with a fully synthetic material. Touch on the ball is actually reasonably similar to the 200 and 300 out of the box, but the 705 is not going to break in the same way that its leather counterparts do, and it's just not going to have quite that same properties of being able to mold to your foot. As I've mentioned, the Stadio range comes in every type of outsole imaginable. I have full FGs here, so that's what we're going to look at. But we're going to start again with the Stadio OG, and you can see it's got those conical studs. A direct comparison, they've all got really classic heritage style conical studs, and they're all going to do a really great job of providing you with rotational movement while also providing good traction. I'm on an AG pitch today, and while these aren't AG specific boots, you don't feel yourself getting caught in the turf too much because they're not overly aggressive. They're going to allow you a lot of freedom of movement. It's also overall a very traditional or heritage style stud pattern in the way that it's laid out, and it absolutely fits the style of this boot altogether. Feels very elegant. When we're talking about the flexibility of the outsole, they all still follow that very traditional heritage styling. It's words we're going to use a lot because that's exactly what they are, and they hit the button every single time. On the OG, we've got the punt flex technology, which is designed to allow you to get great spring back and also for the boot to bend in the correct place. Now, you're actually going to get that on some of the cheaper models as well, some of the more value models. Things like the 705 still offers PunterFlex technology. However, the OG is the only one that's going to offer this, the shock-off technology, designed to reduce fatigue, designed to reduce impact by absorbing shock in the heel. It's a really nice little addition. Sticking with the flex and responsiveness, you're definitely going to get the most from the OGs, and then the 705 are going to have the most flex in them, making them the least responsive. But overall, can't really complain. So this is the OG, and you can see also you've got the stitching that runs around the boot here on the sole plate. This is not something that you see very often, even on premium boots, and it's even riveted at the back. It's just a real sign of quality when you've got stitched and riveted boots. And we're even going to find that stitching in the forefoot on the 300 and on the 705. It's just a sign of quality craftsmanship. Boots are going to last. We've spoken about the upper, so it's only right that we talk about the fit and comfort of these boots. Now, they are heritage style, traditional leather boots, so they're going to fit in a very specific way, and that way is going to be very dependent on your foot and how the leather reacts and shapes to your foot. It's the beauty of a traditional leather boot and the fact that you can get a very, very custom fit. Now, with that in mind, because traditional leather does have a way of stretching, bending, and expanding to suit your foot as it's worn, I would recommend, especially in the OG, the 200 and the 300, going down half a size in order to accommodate for that stretch to happen. Because they are heritage style boots, the comfort is generally off the charts. You've got no problems with any kind of foot discomfort, even straight out the box, especially obviously as you get further up towards the more premium offerings. You've got a heritage style heel that runs across the range with minimal padding, although there is definitely more padding in the 200 when compared to everything else. There's a really nice deep feeling to the heel counter on the OG, and while the 200 or 300 can definitely feel a little bit shallower. And as I said before, because of the style of the boot, they really should suit almost anybody and any foot type. One of the key differences for me in both a little bit of performance and definitely in fit terms is that the 200, 300 and 705 all have a more raised toe box, definitely the most pronounced in the 200, especially when you compare that to the lower toe box that you're going to find on the OG. I much prefer the fit of the toe box in the OG, but it's definitely just something to be aware of, that each one fits differently and that a raised toe box is something that you're going to get with the other lines. When it comes to performance and overall, for me, there is a clear winner here, and you're probably not surprised to hear that it is, of course, the more premium offering, and it is the made in Italy Stadio OG. I think that I'm just in love with the way it looks, those long laces, the fold over tongue, and then you've got that incredibly soft leather. It does outperform anything else that we've got here, and that lower toe box makes a big difference for me personally in how they perform. But that's not to say the other Stadio models don't have their merits. A K-leather forefoot for around €100 is kind of brilliant. I personally would prefer a slightly lower toe box, but again, K-leather for around €100, it's not something you find very often. So there you've got a rundown of the key components, performance characteristics, and how these boots are going to respond between the Lotto Stadio OG, you've got the Lotto Stadio 200, the Lotto Stadio 300, and the Lotto Stadio 705. All offering something different and all fitting beautifully into that heritage styling category. So there is my breakdown of all 4 silos in the Lotto Stadio line, and there's something there for everyone. Hopefully you got something out of that. Hopefully you now know how to make a better choice for you. But I've been James from Boot Wizard. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.